And that's exactly how we build relationships, through experiences. Someone will come to you. I know maybe you haven't had this before, but my mom, she'll meet someone for the first time. She'll have a 2-minute experience and say, I don't like her. The way that she acted in those 2 minutes, I'm never talking to her ever again.
It's over.
It's done. I've heard girls tell me that before. It's like, oh yeah, I talked to him for 2 minutes, and those 2 minutes is all I needed. Done. And it's like, whoa, hey.
They say that women usually can judge like other people more effectively in a faster amount of time than men can.
Really? See, but okay.
And I wonder if that's
Judging is one thing, but judging accurately is another thing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's run the numbers on that one.
Run the numbers.
I'd love to see the accuracy, because let's, maybe we'll run a test. Maybe we'll invite some people on, and we'll have some new experiences and see how they feel about it. I gotta run the numbers.
So around judging, do you catch yourself judging people?
Oh yeah. So what I try to do is I'll judge you, but I will try not to treat you different based off of my judgment call, We judge everyone. There's no way getting around judging, because I'm going to look at you, and just by looking at you, I'm judging you. We can break that down from judging into trying to understand your personality or your look or the type of person you are based off of appearance. We'll call that judging, but that's just what everyone does. If I take a look at something new or someone new for the first time, I have to try to understand it, And I'll call that judging. But I'll try not to make that affect the way that I treat you when we do interact at some point, if we ever do.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, okay, this guy, he obviously doesn't have like he has a physical ailment, like he doesn't have an arm or something. I'm not going to make arm jokes,
Yeah.
I'll try not to make it affect our conversation or interaction negatively. Let's go with that. What about you?
No, I completely agree. I think that I don't know, I judge more than I'd like. And it's almost, it's unfortunate, but it's true. I think that, to your point, I think that we make inferences on people that we just meet. And I think that sometimes, I think you made a really good point. If you catch yourself judging, the judgment that you have shouldn't impact the way that you treat that person, especially initially, right?
Yes.
And I think that's really important. Like if you see someone that is dressed poorly, let's say, and you're like, okay, dude, like we're at brunch, like why are you dressed like that, right? But then, you can kind of reflect and be like, okay, well maybe, and I think that comes down to you don't know where someone has been or what they've been through.
Agreed.
So I think a perfect example of this is, what is that Will Smith movie? What is it? Come on, it's like Happiness, Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness, yes.
So if you watch that movie, right, he was selling, I don't know, it was like this x-ray machine or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's running around the city and all this, and he had this big opportunity where he, was like interviewing for a financial firm or something like that, and something crazy happened. I don't remember the details, but something crazy happened where he like didn't have like a shirt, or he had like a tank top with like paint all over his pants or something like that. And it was one of those things that,
they judged him. They got him from the start, but they didn't understand, like, hey, this product works. It's not about me. You look beyond that for a second. Look beyond what you've analyzed or inferenced. You've got to take that into account. And you should go into almost every scenario like that. I feel like the world today is a lot more open. A lot of more people are open to things like that. But in the time span of that movie, in the time frame, I think it was probably, early 90s or something like that in the movie? Early 2000s? Or late 90s, early 2000s? It was not so much so. I mean, you've got a black man walking around the streets, trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I think you're right. Although, I would say, so thinking about the other point, that our judgments that we do have hold some value.
Definitely.
So I think that, if there's a hobo, let's say, as an example, that's kind of staggering on the street that's approaching you, I think that it's appropriate in that moment to judge, like, and analyze that scenario and kind of be like, okay, like, I'm going to not talk to this person. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to even try to, interact and things like that. Yeah.
Those type of things, those are built off of more so previous bias and or previous experience. So we look at a homeless person, we know this homeless person, or we know what a homeless person looks like per se, and because someone has shown me a homeless person, or I've seen a homeless person, or someone has talked about a homeless person and their interaction with them, and someone told me to stay away, or my last interaction was fearful and now I'm going to stay away or become more aware of my situation,
Yeah.
So that's the whole playing into the thing we talked about before, where, hey, someone I trust told me this about this, and that judgment is now passing down to me because, hey, now I've been told this thing.
Yeah.
But that's...
So I want to ask you a question, so kind of stemming off of this, when you see a homeless person that's like asking for money, what do you do? Like, what is your, do you give? Like, what do you give? And why?
Okay, so here I'm going to tell you one of my experiences with giving something to a homeless man. It's in no way to reflects the whole homeless community, but it's just a weird story, and it was terrible. I was very upset. So I'm in Fort Lauderdale, South Florida, and I go visit my grandma with one of my buddies, and then we stay the night. My grandma makes some amazing cornbread, bro.
Ooh, yummy.
Amazing. I get there and she says, "Here, take the pan." I was like, "Oh, Grandma."
Thank you, Grandma.
Thank you. I love you. I'm leaving. I'm
nostalgia right there, dude. That's nostalgia.
Yeah, that hit. I tasted it. It was moist. I'm leaving my grandma's house, and we're probably 3 blocks from the highway or something like that. This dude is sitting on the side, and I'm like, man, I don't have any money, but you know what? I've got some food. He looks like he really needed it, and I pulled over, and I was like, hey, man, I don't have any money, but I've got food. Because I had some cornbread and some other things in there,
Cool.
Just because Grandma gave me some stuff. Grandma hooks me up,
Of course, of course.
I pull it out, and I hand it to him, and he just kind of looks at it, analyzes it, and then he goes, "What's this?" I'm like, "It's cornbread." He's like, "Oh, it's cornbread?" I'm just like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? You have not tasted.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, if you're not hungry, pass it back, bro. Pass it back. I will take care of it. And
oh my gosh.
Every time I see someone now, I think about that story. I mean, I try not to judge the next person, but it was astounding to me to have that situation happen. And
yeah.
But that's the thing. I valued my grandma's cornbread so much higher than he probably valued any cornbread. So it just shook me. I was upset. I talked about it with my friend on the way back the whole ride.
Oh man, this guy rejected my grandmother's cornbread. You still gave it to him?
Yeah, I still gave it to him. I was like, all right, get out of here, man. You need something. You'll eventually eat it, probably. Hopefully.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you, man. I think that, I've had a similar experience where it was like I had a $5 Dunkin' Donuts gift card, and, I saw some guy, and I was like, I don't need this. So I gave it to him, and he's like, oh, what am I going to do with this? And that kind of took me back.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
and
there's value in that. Come on, man.
Yeah. No, definitely. But I think on the other side, though, going back to what we talked about judging, like, we don't know where that person has been. So usually my default is I don't really give to homeless. And, one, I think because of the experience that I had. And two, I know, and I recognize that I've been extremely fortunate in my life.
Same
although I think that, there are, we're in America, and, I think that if you really try, right, and I'm sure so many people can argue against this, and I want to hear the other side, and I want to argue the other side. But I think that you have an opportunity to do something, right? You see people like with, you know, Windex and paper towels wiping people's windshields off at the highway and asking for money. You see people like, you know, washing cars or like, you know, selling things on the street or like dumpster diving. It's like, do something, you know, like, and I think that if you spend your time like doing something, I respect that. Or if you're going to panhandle, right? If you're going to panhandle, offer something of value. I remember this woman in the office who I used to work with, she was telling me how she had like a panhandler, you know, whatever. He came up to her, started talking to her, and he said a joke, and it was funny. It was actually a funny joke. Okay. And because, you know, he entertained her in that moment, he's like, okay. She was like, okay, yeah, like I will give you a couple of bucks because that joke was funny.
He's offered a service. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Pay you for your service.
Exactly. And if you do, like if you're panhandling, it's like, I don't know, maybe try to do something where you're earning it, right?
Interesting, yeah. So
at the same time though, oh, go ahead, Chris, go ahead.
So I've seen that before as well, where, I mean, we could be on the subway or something, no subways in Florida, but in another state, on a subway, and we see someone performing an act or something like that, or working towards producing money. And I strongly believe that there's a large population of homeless people that are fully capable and able to go and create a revenue stream for themselves. I fully believe that. You know what? I'm going to tell you my solution to homelessness. My solution is join the military, my friends. Join the military. Clean cut. Just join up, get an easy $50K just for walking around. Maybe lose a leg. Still get. I'm
gonna tell you though. So what about the people that are like over 30 or 40?
Over 30 or 40? Anymore. Hey man, I think it's 40, but you could still join the reserves. Try that out. There's plenty of other public service jobs that are out there and available for you. I mean, we have not homeless. We have a bunch of jobless programs. There's a bunch of people in this past year that have got on unemployment and have been able to make more money for themselves than they had made at their previous job. So I'm going to say there's opportunity, and I know not everyone has accessibility to all of those opportunities, but I will say there's opportunity. I've seen. What
about? So these roles. So I'm going to play devil's advocate, right?
Go for it.
So the roles that you're talking about, and you know maybe unemployment. Yes, it's more, right, with the pandemic and everything that's been going on. But before it was less, right? And in addition to that, there is a huge problem in the United States with affordable housing. Like I mentioned in the previous podcast, right? Like I'm a landlord, and rents go up. Rents don't go down. Rents go up.
Prices go up.
Yeah, and so we have a huge shortage of housing, right? In addition to that, you know, there's a reason why they're homeless. So there's a reason why that these people are homeless, and they might not be getting the help that they need. Either, you know, maybe they have a drug addiction, maybe they're mentally impaired, maybe there's some veterans that are out there that aren't getting the assistance that they need. Some of them are veterans, at least they claim to be. So there could be different factors that contribute to someone being homeless, right? And I think that ties back into people's experiences. You never really know like what someone has been through.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, okay, like why are you homeless? And I would like to almost get like a scan of their life or something and kind of be like, okay, but then it kind of goes back to judging, right? Because then I'm going to look at your life and be like, okay, well, because of these 3 decisions that I didn't agree with, like I'm not going to, So I don't know, man. Let's just get Elon Musk to put a chip in everyone's brain. I can see your life. It's done.
Exactly. I'll capture your memories and I'll know exactly who you are and why you are that way.
I want to. Have you ever seen the show Black Mirror?
I've seen pieces of it. I didn't.
Oh, you got to watch Black Mirror. Yeah. Oh my gosh.